Rehabilitating a W114, what does it take? I'm sure some of you have been watching regularly in our background photos have seen this beautiful slim bumper dark blue 280 sedan. And that has been a project of ours for the past 2 years. Nothing happens quickly here at Pierre Hedary's. I know that some of you have been customers are like, gee, yeah, I know that's true. It's true. Nothing here happens quickly because we aim for perfection, and perfection is a difficult thing to achieve. It takes a lot of time and patience. And so, one of our subscribers had asked about what it makes to make one of these cars perfect, and so Thomas and I had done some B-roll on it that you can see. Let's talk about where this car started and where it is now. So this car was essentially a driveway ornament when we got it. Rotten front and rear windshield seals, severely rusted rear floor pan and trunk pan, totally rotten leather, incorrect carburetor, car not running, brakes were seized up, steering coupler was bad, obviously no functioning air conditioning, but what did we have? Well, the exterior cosmetics of the car were pretty good. The paint was decent. We only had to touch in a couple of spots. The original dash was good. The original wood was really good. The carpets were kind of blah, but whatever. The carburetor being incorrect was kind of a big deal for me because I like for these things to run like they're supposed to, not just run. You know, to a lot of you, you might go, oh, the car is running, but is it running like it's supposed to? My friend David Cunningham, who recently bought a 280C 1973 also, he and I were discussing this, the difference between a running car and a car that's running properly. And you can only achieve running properly with an M110 with the correct Solex 4A1 carburetor, and it is a beauty when it does. So what did we do? Well, the first thing we had to deal with was the rust. So we pulled all the seats, all the stuff out of the trunk, the gas tank, the rear subframe, the drive shaft, and I sent the car to my buddy Austin Miles. And Austin fabricated a new trunk pan and new rear floors because you can't get any of this stuff easily. By the way, if any of you know where I can get a 114 or 115 trunk pan, please email me at mbownersforlife@bellsouth.net. If I ever meet you in person, I'm buying you dinner because I could use like 100 of them. Maybe like 25 really in reality, but trunk pan. So we had to fabricate all this stuff. It was expensive. It cost about $6,000. And maybe even more than that. Then we had to get all these areas painted in because they're supposed to be painted too. Now, what else do we have to do? We had to send the seats out for reupholstery. I bought leather kits from GAHH because this was a leather interior car. We had to redo all the seats and put in new pads. We got front and rear pads. So everything, all the pads are new. So we have really nice firm seats. We had to replace the 2 front door panels, and we had to replace 1 front window regulator. The right window regulator was so-so, but it wasn't bad. We were able to replace the bushings and it started to work okay. So tremendous amount of work. New carpet kit, center console out, and because the AC didn't work, we found out that the AC blower was worn out. So some of you have a 114 or 115 know that there's a blower hidden in the evaporator case that has to come out. And we pulled that out. Put in a new motor. The 107 motor will work in a 114 or 115 car. You just have to take the ends off. Now, here's the next thing that we had to do. With all of that said and done, we had to replace the driver's door because it was so rusty. So we had to replace every seal in the door. We had to pull the front and rear windows, rope in front and rear glass, and put in a new headliner. The headliner was not easy, nor was it fast. There was nothing fun about that job, but we got it done and we put in new front and rear glass seals without breaking windows. If you take your car to a glass shop and they say, we don't know if we can do this without breaking the windows, it means that they don't know what they're doing because Mercedes glass is actually really that good. Getting the car running right, we had to source a correct Solex carburetor, and using 2 other carburetors, we were able to rebuild the original. Art did that for me. I gave it to Art and I said, here, take it. We had some issues with the rebuild, so we had to take it apart again, but it actually runs really well now, and with a correctly working vacuum regulator, apart from once in the morning, you only have to hit the gas once and it starts right up. So this thing screams down the road. We had most of the exhaust rebuilt by time valve exhaust because the back muffler was rotted out. And in addition, we had to pull the AC compressor and reseal it. We had to replace all the belts, adjust the valves, go through the ignition, flush the braking system, replace all the rear subframe mounts and the rear diff mount. They were totally gone. And, you know, pull the steering box and replace the steering coupling. That was definitely a priority. The list of items just goes on and on and on and on and on. Now you see why there's so many losers that just prefer to pull the motor and slam and bag the car. But they're not doing the car any favors. To restore a Mercedes, you have to put some real work into it. But at the $25,000 or so we had to put into this car, I believe it was well worth it, because this car, at the end of the day, is actually a really good example of the 114. It is now solid. It doesn't have any major rust. It's quiet. It's reliable. The problem is nobody attacks these things from every angle and deals with all of the problems at once. And so that's why you have all these 114s and 115s out there that are so-so. But, you know, when you're done with these things, they're really a nice car. I actually prefer the 114 six-cylinder gas car to a 108 six-cylinder gas car in some respects. Maybe the fuel injection would be nice, like a 250E or 250CE or 280E or 280CE. But with the M110 engine especially, this car is a real beast. So, anyway, I'd like to be able to help some of you restore your 114s and 115s. So if you have a project car like this that you're working on, chime in the comments. I'd love to hear more from you. The 114 and 115 are great cars. They don't get enough love. I hope to carve out a niche for myself restoring these cars in the future the right way. Maybe unslamming and bagging some of them, taking the Toyota motors out and putting the correct Mercedes engines back in, or building a hot rod with an M116 or M117 engine in something like a 250, because all the parts will fit. Keep the original Mercedes injection, just build a mild sleeper. How about a 250C with a 5-liter Euro V8 in it? You know, that would be awesome. And it all bolts in. So anyway, if you guys enjoyed this video, please like, share, and subscribe. If you have any comments, leave them below. And if you tap the bell for notifications, you'll put a big smile on my face. And in the meantime, enjoy driving your Mercedes Benz. And thank you again to all of our Patreon supporters. We really appreciate you. If you have a 114 or 115 project, don't give up. Cheers.